And there we are. Good afternoon, everyone.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun. So,
welcome to Denim and Pearls. I'm Dr. Michelle Moras.
and I'm Brian Swanson.
We are Denim and Pearls. We are business casual
with pearls of wisdom
from the porch.
And this week's topic:
urgent,
emergency.
urgent.
Okay, so where does this come from? It comes from the great saying,
Well,
the lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine.
how often do you have that happen to you? Where,
oh my God.
You've been planning, everything's like set in place, and somebody comes up and says, here's a wrench. I just threw it into everything. What?
Yeah. I mean, it's tons and tons of things. It's all the time. It really is. Sometimes you can plan for it. Because I'm one of these guys that can actually, in a moment's notice, make changes to things. And it doesn't matter what it is. It just doesn't matter. Okay. I can do that. I can make changes on the fly.
But should you?
But why should you if you plan properly?
Correct.
And I'm not a big time planner.
He is not.
I'm the out of all the four personalities to me that are equal, organization is probably my least powerful.
But prioritization is a very high skill for you.
Yes, prioritizing is very high.
And so what brought this on was sometimes you can have, when they say, get all your ducks in a row. Have you ever watched ducks? You can't force them into a row. So you basically just kind of gather them and you make sure they all semi go into the right direction. The only one they follow was the main duck. Okay. So ducks in the row is a silly expression. But when it comes to causing someone else's life to be chaotic because of your lack of planning, or in our cases with clients, when a client says, I have an event in 3 days. Can you get this all done for me and printed now? You do know it normally takes me a week, and I have other clients I've got to fit this into.
I think that's the part. I really want to use the word disrespect.
Okay.
Because you're not respecting my time. You're not respecting my talents.
Well, it doesn't respect the fact that you have other time for other things.
Right, exactly. Because dropping everything for a last minute client is crazy nuts.
Well, especially since you normally have your current clients that are very
right.
You know what they need when they want it, and they've said, okay, next month I want this. You've been working on their things for quite a while, and you've got it just set perfect. And then you've got a person who says, I need this tomorrow, now.
I'm going to make it simple because I'm thinking karaoke.
Okay.
You're going. You've got a pattern going. You've got a list going. Everybody's coming up when it's their time. And then one guy comes in and says, I need to leave. Can I sing now?
Now,
wait a minute. Why should I do that? I mean, there are certain consequences, whatever. We could have that kind of discussion. But just for this example in this story scenario, you walk up to me and you want it in now. That means you think you're more important than everybody else. That means you think that you should be able to take over at any time that you want.
Well, just think of all the other people who are also, okay, I'm just going to have this one last
drink and I'm out. Yeah.
But they haven't said anything. They're just waiting for their turn and then they'll go. Why do you need to jump the line? It makes no sense. Well, I'm thinking in the printing world. So when I used to run political stuff, and you would have everything set. You knew whose drop date needed to happen. So you knew when to print it, whatever their flyers were. You would have them sent to the printer, and the printer would have it a month out. And then you would say, okay, on this date, drop this flyer. On this date, drop this flyer. On this date, drop this flyer. And then you have a client would come in, a politician would come in, or their rep would come in and do, this just happened. We need it now. It's like, well, then you're going to have to pay more. Because in order to move you in the line of our printer who already has everything out, we need to pay them a surplus in order to jump you into a printing process. Because when they're printing, they've got the template, they're ready, they've got it rolling. And so there's a price to pay for that kind of stuff.
There's a price to pay for an emergency. I mean, you don't go to the vet and go, hey, my dog is sick this minute. I need to see you now. What are they going to tell you?
Emergency.
they're going to 3 times, 4 times, 6 times your bill because you want in now, because they've got to push other clients too. Now, I think it's a little high of a cost for an emergency concept, but that's the way life works. That's the way business works.
You've got to jump through certain hoops. So the whole thing about this talk that we're doing today is do not cause your lack of planning. Don't make your lack of planning someone else's problem. Just because you're not ready doesn't mean you cause chaos in everyone else's well-oiled machine. Because a lot of us, we are givers. And we will do everything we can in order to help you
make it work
in the best way we can, because that's what service-oriented people do. But there's a point where that kindness should not be abused.
Well, and I think that's a good word, abused. And I think it's also disrespect, because I've done stuff and I've made mistakes and I've not planned, and I'm guilty of it as charged.
It's human. We do make mistakes.
And I've gone to people though, but I don't go them. I have never gone to anybody that I recall going, I want this now. I need this now. What I have done though is going, dude, I screwed up. Can you help me? Can we make this happen? If not, I understand. But if we can't or can we do it?
Or do you have someone else that you can refer me to that can do this?
Yeah, or something. It's not. I think that's part of the personality in some people, where I want this now, and I expect it. Well, are you paying for it to expect it now? In this minute, and for me to stand on hold and wait for you to get me the information that you need to get me?
Well, when I was in the baking world, I remember people would come in and do, I haven't balanced my checkbook for a year. I need you to balance it now. And it's like, you haven't balanced it for a year. Why is it an emergency now? Well, I need help and I need you to do it now. Well, you can get on the schedule and we will put you on the
set
schedule,
an appointment.
Because apparently for 364 days, it didn't matter to you. And now on the 365th day, it's important.
Oh no, it's 3 months past because we need to get the done for taxes.
Yes, that's usually what happens. It's like
it's April.
It's like no. You cannot cause this kind of chaos. And we are all guilty of doing this to an accountant at one point in time, somewhere in our lifetime, where we do, oh my gosh, I forgot taxes. And you take all your papers, all your everything, and you do here. And now they have extensions, so now you can actually use extensions. But back in the day, there were not extensions. You were kind of,
I don't know. I always used to put mine in on time, and then all of a sudden I got into a habit for about 5 years there that I had extension.
That's what I'm saying, is I've never used the extension, and then actually it was like last year, I think we finally used an extension. But that's what happens to accountants. That's what happens at banks. That's what happens. I need it now. And it's like, wait a minute, everybody else managed to do it.
Why didn't you?
Why didn't you?
Well, you just got me thinking. Okay, so there's an event, say, in Denver. Okay, so we've got an hour and a half drive. This event starts at 6 o'clock. We show up at 5:30. We drove 70 some mile, 80 some mile to get there. But the guy who lives down the street is 30 minutes late. Why is that? I will never understand that one.
It always happens.
Do they think they have time to get there? And I'm going to be, what are they, fashionably late?
Oh God, they're going to be late. They're coming all the way 2 hours away. They're going to be late, and then we're early.
But I wouldn't put that as, well, it is kind of a disrespect, because it's disrespect for the host.
When things are,
and especially when it's the host, it's really bad.
Yeah, when things are supposed to start, they're supposed to start. I mean, we're also from the time period where if you aren't 15 minutes early, you're late.
Oh yeah. My dad wasn't always an hour early for everything.
Yeah, and so I would, sit in the parking lot for 30 minutes waiting for other people to walk in. So finally, then I can go in.
Yeah, because you don't always want to be the first one there. But maybe that's everybody's idea. I don't want to be the first one there, so we'll just show up late.
Oh, I don't care about being the first one there. I just waited for someone to open the dang door.
Well, yeah, I've had that one.
Well, and I was thinking, I want a feast. I want a bean feast. It's from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And so I'm switching perspectives. children do it to us all the time. If you have children or you have a little one in your presence that you care for or babysit or whatever, they like to do the I want it now. I have to go potty. So you can be in the car. You need to go to the restroom before we go in the car?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, we got an hour drive. Okay, you need to go potty. Really, you should go now. Nope. Okay, well, we're going to go. We're starting the car. We're in the car. We're driving. We get off the exit. We're going on some highway into the middle of nowhere from Colorado to Nebraska, let's say. And then right when we get on an exit where there's onto the main highway and there is nowhere to stop. I need to go potty. Didn't I just ask you that 30 minutes ago?
It wasn't even 30 minutes ago. Yeah. It's 10 minutes ago.
Like, oh my gosh, I need to go now. I told you, you're going to have to wait. There's not a rest stop for 4 more exits, but I need to go now. And so everyone's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Okay, we got to pull over on the side of the road. That is the same thing you're doing to people when you cause them, through your lack of pre-planning, to do things for you now.
Well, there's a reason.
It's that kid thing. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Have you thought about this? Don't drink that big bottle of water. I mean, it's basically the same thing, but in the business world. No, I'm good. As long as I'm sitting, I'm good. And then they move and boom, they have to go.
One of the things, if it's a big business, let's say it's, I don't know, Goodyear tires. Just for an instance, Goodyear Tires is a company that's been around forever. They change their tires, they put new tires on, take them off, blah, 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 blah. You schedule an appointment. You don't schedule an appointment for 3 days. But what if you walk in there and say, I need it fixed now? I'm sorry, but you're not going to fit into my schedule. They have no qualms about telling you that.
They say you can just park on the side.
You park on the side, and if we get a chance, in other words, what we call in the military Class A, class available, when we get a chance, we may get to it today, where we may not. They don't go out of their way to do things. Okay, a lot of times there's no give or take on it either. Whereas a small business, at least you have a conversation with the owner or the general manager, and you might get a little bit of a sway and get a little bit better service in that case. But there's a lot of times these smaller businesses, such as ours or whatever, we try to make everybody happy. We don't want to make anybody mad. So we do certain things, right? We may not get them back. That's part of it. They may not come back, lose all that business. So yeah, I know it's a fine line to balance, but on the other hand, you, as a customer, you have to also think, because we're all customers, you have to think about it too. Do you demand something from somebody? Or do you say, oh, crap, I screwed up?
Well, and that's why I love, like, my accountant. My accountant is amazing. So
I need to call him.
They will send out a notice like 6 months out before taxes are even due and say, remember your taxes. This is the check sheet you want to start building, the checklist of the things you want to start building. Then 30 days later, they do, have you started your checklist yet? I mean, it's just really friendly reminder. It's coming up. And they just send things out. And it prompts you. You're like, oh, yeah, I start work. Oh, I forgot about it again. And then you get the reminder.
I think that's actually really cool, because I've recently, no, not recently, but accountants that they don't even call you. They don't tell you that, hey, you got something coming up. They don't send you a reminder. They don't text you. They don't follow your kind of conversation, which I think as a business owner, especially a small business owner, you have to understand how your customers communicate.
Which is why I like my accountant. My accountant knows that people like to drop things the day or the week of, when taxes are due. So instead of having that mass chaos at that last week where their hair's on fire and they don't sleep anymore, they preempt it. And then when they're reminding us, some of us finish and are ready, and we get everything done. So they've stopped the bottleneck is what they've done.
Right.
By just giving happy, friendly reminders. Friendly reminder, tax season is coming. It's just so sweet. So think about in your business, if you've got a client that does this to you often, where we have a friend who does promotional products. So she has a squared promo. Promo. Well,
Miss Arlene.
And so she'll have things out where she has to go find vendors for the best price. And then she'll have someone come in and do, I need this next week. And she'll do, I can get it done, but it won't be my preferred vendor. I'm going to have to do this. So what she does is she'll go to people and say, hey, you ordered about 300 pens. You should be running low by now.
Yeah.
Is it
Well,
time to
that's part
reorder?
of your what do they call that?
It's your following up.
It's your follow-up.
It's
your
another word I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
boy, I just totally
but
lost it.
basically, you should
It's
have
part of
little,
your email list kind
you
of thing.
should basically have little reminders in your calendar for your clients. Basically, I have a tick sheet on my clients where I have index cards where I go back to them, and at a certain month I'll have a list of things, and I'll say like, Joe hasn't done this, or Joe might want to do this, or have they done their TED Talk yet? Have they applied for this? And I'll just write them and say, hey, how's that TED doing?
Yeah.
And
CRM. That's the word I was like.
that's it.
Yep.
So,
Client referral messaging.
so
something
basically,
like
in your business, if you have something that always happens chaotic, that adds stress to your life, is there something in your business that you can preempt them earlier and say, it's coming up to that time, or your pen should be running out by now? Are you close to ordering? Or, insurance is due, or, whatever you do with your stuff,
Right.
premiums have just changed. Do you want to look at this? Anything like that you could preempt your clients so that they don't bombard you at the last day is what you might want to start implementing.
Great pearls of wisdom that you're sharing there.
Just save the stress.
See, I started this show with the idea of I'm frustrated because of people who don't respect your time, who they need everything and they need it now. That's where urgent comes in.
I want a bean feast.
I want it now too. We talked about that a long time ago, but I want it now. I want my success now. But it's not hindering anybody else in the process.
But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about not planning ahead. And so pre-planning. And that's why you need to be writing down lists of what you want, what you need, and when you're going to need it. If you are someone who does events, you can't say, I'm going to have a conference in 2 months. I think I'll order my bags and my swag and all that a week out.
3 days before.
You can't,
because then they come in there and they're all messed up. That always happens.
Or, you need to be able to have time to at least preview things. Or like with Brian here, he's doing his first not on this coming Sunday.
Ta-da!
So I'm timing
us. Nice roll in there, transition.
You're welcome. He has this Not So Minicon coming up.
So I need to pay you as my advertiser.
My thing is if he's doing this Not So Minicon on Sunday, do you think he is just now going to create the advertising for all the sponsors? No. He's been building them. He's been contacting them. He's been playing with the artwork. All of this stuff has been done for quite a while. And
I've got one that's still not on board, right?
But that's the thing is, if you wait till the last hour, then why? In something like this, like a conference, and you've got sponsors and things, the reason if you're a sponsor, you want advertising, don't you?
Yeah, and the more time that you get, the better.
So why would you wait till 2 days before the event? It's irrelevant at this point. Then you're only advertising to the people who actually come into the room. So if you are a sponsor or you are seeking sponsors, you want them far away from the event so that you can advertise them so they can get their money's worth.
Right.
And then you've got a track record of how much advertising they actually got. And then when you get to the event, it's all bonus.
Yeah, well, some of it too is you have these people who like to procrastinate. That's the word we haven't used yet, but procrastination is really seriously what we're talking about.
Both sides.
But procrastinating to put things into place as a sponsor. Well, you got to remember when you're planning an event, like you said, you're planning out months ahead of time. Well, there's plans that you have for money that's promised you. And if you wait till the last week, well, what did that just do to my schedule?
To the whole event.
To the whole event, because I don't have time to get this. I don't have time to do that. You're losing out on the promotional time that I promised you in the first place. But don't come back to, please, I'll say it kindly, please don't come back to me at the last minute on the day of and go, but you didn't promote me enough. Well, you didn't give me your materials or your money until 3 days before the show. What more do you expect?
So that's the whole point. What are sponsors for? It's not just for advertising you. the money that they take in from sponsorship is to make sure the food is there, make sure the banners are made, make sure you've got the vendors, the tables in place and marked and labeled. So to make sure the electricity, if you need to plug, everything you may need is coming from that sponsorship.
Well, even
money.
the venue needs their down payment.
So if you are a sponsor, or if you are seeking sponsors, you've got to remember it's got to be out far, far from your event.
Right. And well, a lot of it too is a lot of people think that I don't have to pay you right this second because number one, I'm good for it. Number two, you don't mind. But what they don't realize is maybe there's not enough money in there to take care of those things that you want to do. And why, which the flip side of that, why would I want to put my money on the line when you promised me? Because if you don't give it to me and don't come through, then what? Now I've lost all of my money. That we're not all made of money. And I don't care if it's a big event or a small or a huge event, small or a huge event. It doesn't matter. I mean, 3,000 people, 4,000, because I know of an event that's coming up in 2 weeks, 3,000, 4,000 people are going to be rolling through there. Well, she still needs to make sure, the owner of that event still has to make sure that the gift bags and all this other stuff, the facility.
So much is put on what sponsorship money does. So I know several nonprofits that are doing events in sequential order that I'm going to. And I've got a couple who are just spot on. If you're in the Colorado Springs, I'm going to plug this one. The Kenneth Foundation has their event coming up, and I'm actually performing at that one. But I've seen them, and I've been seeing their promotion on social media, and then I've seen an email or two. They've been doing this, and they don't have an event for another couple of months, another month actually.
Yeah.
And so I look at that and do, these people know what they're doing. And
but there's also the ones that once you get to that, well, especially like vendors. Oh, vendors are the ones that are, I think, the most guilty. Well, you didn't promote the event enough. There's no people here. You didn't promote the event enough. Wait a minute. You didn't either, but that's beside the point. But a lot of that all rolls back into sponsorships and stuff like that. You can't put together Facebook advertising if that's what you choose to do. You can't put together Facebook advertising and expect it to work in a matter of 2 days.
Well, and the other thing is, what they don't realize is when you're doing an event, you're usually hiring someone to fix your website, to put on the website, to build, promotional flyers, things of that nature. So if you know of anyone and you are a sponsor, get the money in. They need it so they can promote more. The more you promote, the more they can do for you. So get the money in so they can. I know I'm on a soapbox.
We kind of went down another little track, but it still has to do with the fact of urgency.
Yeah, because then you've got people.
It may not be an urgent matter in the beginning.
Well, I have a nonprofit that reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you get people to the event?" And I said, I invited people already. And they do, well, can you get us in newspapers? I do, your event's in 3 days.
Oh, jeez. You can't perform miracles?
It's a little, it's
kind of. I might be able to get you in the newspaper, but it ain't going to do you any good.
No one's going to see it.
Boy, but that was a heck of a language barrier there.
But that's the whole thing is you've got to consider everything. And, just like with me, with my live stream show on Mental Shift, TNC, I have people come on the show and they do, oh, I'm so excited to be on your show. And I do, great, share it. Nothing.
Why would you not share something that you're going to be on?
And it's like, the whole point of this is I expose you to my audience, you expose me to your audience, and together we grow. But I've looked at people who have gone through my show and they only do, oh, it was great to be on your show, and they never share it. And it's like, no.
Why would you not put it on your own page?
You have to put it on your own page. You've got to promote.
Even if it is a business page or your personal page, either way. I mean,
yeah.
Or both.
It's all about validation between both parties. It's a handshake.
Yeah, but handshakes went away a long time ago. It's all contracts now. You give me this look like, what the hell are you talking about? But think about it. We used to do that in our day. A handshake was a promise. A handshake was a unwritten contract.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you agree to be in part of someone's program or event or whatever, and they agree that you are also in their program or their event, it is an agreement that you are working together.
Right. It's a handshake.
Not one person's just going to do everything for you. It's together. It's a partnership.
It's a handshake. It's an unwritten handshake.
It's an agreement.
Yeah, it's an agreement. It's two people agreeing to do something. In my eyes, I call it a handshake. But we don't do handshakes anymore these days.
Well, they don't do.
Everything's a contract, and this is why they're a contract, because of what we're talking about.
They don't do contracts for podcasts. It's very rare. I've only had 3 contracts for podcasts. So it's just an agreement. If you're on someone's podcast, really be assured they are sharing you to their audience, and they've got multiple platforms. Your biggest payment back to them, since most podcasts are free, is to share it.
100%. Yeah. I mean, we don't have anybody who comes on our show. I mean, we've done it a couple times over the last 3 years, but
I don't like doing it. I like being able to just talk randomly.
Exactly. And we don't have to worry about scheduling. We don't have to worry about anything like that. And that's probably why we don't expand as fast on our numbers, is because of the fact that we don't have somebody always sharing our show. Which
is why it's so important that you share the show, because basically we're handshaking with you right now. If you like what we talk about and you say, hey, you know what, I learn a lot from them every once in a while.
Don't feel obligated, but you're obligated.
You're not obligated, but you share. Because we really do talk about things that most people don't talk about.
Right.
And so that's our gift to you.
Yeah.
And in return,
I'm sure you know a procrastinator out there who really needs to hear this.
It would be great if you would just share it.
Please do.
And
so you're going to make me get serious now.
I'm already serious.
You're dragging me down to serious.
I'm already serious. No, it's very frustrating when you've got all these things going, and what people don't realize when they say, I need it now, that 1, you have a life, 2, you have a business, 3, you've got other things happening in your world, and 4, you've got other things that you are also planning for, that to put a now bullet point inside of something. It's like, I already worked on all of your stuff a week ago. It's done.
Yeah.
So just be cognizant when you say now that you better make sure that now is not a common thing for you to do. Because what will happen is people working with you will weigh, is it worth the stress of their always saying now and not being ready for anything? Or if you are like a printer, or you do swag, or you have anything to do with events, and this person always has an event every year at the same time, at the end of that first event that you're doing, right at the end, say, let's write up the contract for the next one, because it's coming. And then this way you can get them better pricing. I mean, be preemptive of whatever it is. And then that way you save yourself stress, especially when the person you're working with, is not very good with time.
You just took me down a whole nother road. But we won't go there, because that'd just get me all fired up again. People in time. Is it because they don't respect themselves? Is it because they don't respect time, or they don't respect you?
They just don't know time. They have no concept.
Is that an excuse? Is that a reason or an excuse?
It's an excuse, because with our cell phones that we have now, you can put a timer for everything. I mean, I pretty much live on timers on my phone. So you could always put timers on. Hey, need to get such and such done, and put on your calendar and have an alert set. So your phone will tell you, your phone already does it. It's so-and-so's birthday.
Well, one last thing on this topic. If you are having an urgent situation and somebody's trying to help you out, make sure on your phone,
or say thank you,
but keep an eye on your phone, because you're supposed to be having a communication. It's like, okay, you and the wife are having, or you and your spouse are having a fight, and she walks out the door. The fight's unfinished, and 30 minutes later she comes back and wants to fight again.
It's like,
wait a minute, we could have finished this up 30 minutes ago if you would have just stayed here, but you walked off. And that's the way it is with text messages. Sometimes you're trying to communicate and you're trying to help somebody out, but then they run off and they ignore you for an hour and a half.
Hey, I really need this now. Okay, well, I need the address, the time, and the place.
And 3 hours later, they finally get back to you.
Did you get it done? No, I don't have the date, the time, or anything. Send me some data and I can make something.
Communicate.
Yeah.
Communication.
So especially when you
if it's
say
key
urgent,
to a relationship, it's key to business.
yeah, when you say urgent, you better give all pertinent information as soon as possible. But yeah, I was laughing about that. Hey, I need this done. Can you do this now? Sure. What do you need? I need this. This for what?
And then nothing.
Yeah. So when someone says, "Sure, I'll go under the gun for you. I'll press. I'll nose to the grindstone for you for the next 30 minutes," and you don't talk to them for 30 minutes.
Now you just wasted 3 hours of their time that they could have been doing something else because they were waiting on you.
You've lost their window of opportunity. So
yep.
Don't do that. So be the best version of you. And in this case, be apologetic. Be the best version of you and show up when you need to show up. And if you are a vendor, be timely. If you're a sponsor, be even more timely. If you are a organization that does conferences, ask for data early so that you can promote early. And
I would add to that, if you're a human being who's trying to communicate something, communicate.
Thing is like Brian and I, as goofy as we are, we communicate very quickly. It's like, hey, we're leaving. What time do we have to be at the event? 6. What time do you want to leave? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, usually we waste time deciding on what time we want to leave.
4:15. Okay, I'll be there at 4:15, and we always have wiggle room because we both like to be ever so slightly early. So we've come to this thing where ready. I mean, it's click, 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 click. Here, yes, it's very fast. It just means just be respectful of someone else's time.
Mm-hmm.
And
they'll be respectful of yours.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line. And so, like, if I say I'll be there at 5 and I'm not there at 5, he'll write, "Are you okay?"
You did that to me one time.
Yeah, I've only done it once. But that's the thing is, are you okay? Because it's out of the norm.
Yep.
You want the norm for you to be late. Not, it's so-and-so. They're always a week late. Never mind. Don't worry about them. Just go. You don't want to be that person. So go be the best version of you. And remember, your urgent does not mean everyone else's life has to stop for you.
Your lack of planning does not constitute an emergency on my part.
On anyone's part.
I need to put that over my desk.
And remember, your vibe attracts your tribe, and if your vibe is all off and crazy and always late and sporadic,
maybe we should make a new sign for
that's the tribe you're attracting, crazy and sporadic. So don't do that to yourself, and don't do that to the people around you. Go be you. And if you are constantly late or a procrastinator or someone who always forgets things, put them in your calendar and put alerts on them so you do not forget.
My smart ass report, or my smart aleck comment to that is, I never put it on my calendar, and if I do put it on my calendar, I forget to look at it.
That's why you set alarms on the calendar.
That's my part on organization.
You can set an alarm on a calendar. You know that, right?
Uh-huh.
I have alarms on things on my calendar, so they pop up. I have them out a week, or depending on what it is, a week or 2 days out, and it'll say, remember, event tomorrow, or event in 2 days, or don't forget to pack. Whatever it is, you can set an alarm. We're in the world of technology. There is no excuse to forget.
Well, I have something on that, but we're not going to go in there because we're over time.
Okay. So go be the best version of you.
Because I know the perfect example for that.
Be unapologetically the best version of you. And until next week, my name is Dr. Michelle Moras.
And I'm Brian Swanson.
We are Denim and Pearls. We are business casual.
With pearls of wisdom.
From the porch. Peace.